One thing non-farm that I'll talk about that's very important to us and our success is our accountant and our lawyer. It's a husband and wife team. And when we burned out in 2000, quite honestly, it was extremely hard on my dad. Lifelong dream, 30-some years in the business, and it all goes down in a few hours. What was even harder is the original accountant we had, we were to pay like 25, 27% income taxes from that fire and from our loss. And so we did a little exploring and we found an accountant that over the last 10 years I think has saved us more money and created more opportunity for us than I could imagine. One of the things my dad wanted to do was transition the farm to my brother and I, and we were very much against that, and with our accountant's help, we decided, why should my dad buy something, pay interest, and then turn around and sell it to me, cripple me for the next 20, 30 years of my life. He have to pay the income tax, and then we have to pay the interest. And so I think in terms of our development and our expansion and our profitability, that may be one of the really key things that we've decided to do. And with my dad, we've told him, you can do anything you want, and this shop thing that he's got going, and I'll show you some pictures. It's a pretty incredible little deal. It was kind of his dream, and it's really what he wanted to do after cows, because I don't think he wanted that commitment, the day-to-day commitment, but really the emotional attachment that we get. And we said, hey, we'll do for you what you need done, but we can do this together. And we really had to come to terms and come to grips with how we were going to operate as a family. And really that is the most important part of what our operation is. It's a family operation. But the neat thing about my accountant is he sits down with us at the beginning of the year and he says, how much income tax do you want to pay at the end of the year? And of course, I say, none. And he says, okay, let's plan for that. And so we meet 2 or 3 times usually throughout the course of the year. And we can be pretty close with a lot of the different things that we do in terms of not only expanding our business, but and adding things of value-added aspects, but then maintaining a low percentage of our profits that go for income tax. A little bit about our registered Holsteins, and that's certainly why everybody's here today. And like these two gentlemen whom I have incredible respect for, and many of you that I see out there and I recognize you from sales, I mean, I have nothing more than the utmost respect for all of you. But really, when I come right back to registered Holsteins, the number one thing on our farm is milk sales. That's what pays the bills day in, day out. And quite honestly, our registered cows normally outproduce any of the other cows, and we're mostly registered, but our registered cows outdo our grade cows. The second thing that adds a lot of value to us is pedigree cattle sales, and we try to be as proactive with that as we can in terms of when somebody comes into our barn, I'll hand them the test sheet, I'll hand them the breeding record, and we'll go right on down the line and I'll say, everything's for sale, I'll put a price on anything you want, but I want you to have all the information up front, whether it be cell count, whether it be 22 services on a cow, so you can make your choice, and when it's all said and done, you can be happy with what you bought. One thing that we've done a lot of in the last 10 years is I visited about 6 or 7 herds in our county that are grade breeders. And we've talked 3 or 4 of them into buying registered cattle. Most of them have become repeat buyers. And as registered breeders, I think that's an important thing for us to do is to try to promote our cattle beyond what is a dwindling number of people. And quite honestly, the repeat buyers come back, these people come back because they take these cows home and they find out what good genetics can do. And good genetics, and I'm not trying to say that my genetics, what I've sold them is something terribly special. But a cow that comes from a deep pedigree, that lactation after lactation has proven to be valuable, these people are finding to be more valuable than using jumper bulls and those kinds of things. And so we get a lot of repeat business from these guys. The other thing we did when I was in high school, I bought 26 cows from a guy that had a little dairy, and we raised his calves, so we get extra ET recipients that way. But now we own a little, what I call our commercial dairy. It's 26 cows, and we helped him put in a single 6 parlor. So he milks his 26 cows in a single 6 parlor, and quite honestly, it takes him longer to milk in the parlor than it did the tie stall, but we take up so many cows that kick and stuff, he's just happier than heck to have the parlor. And finally, something I'll talk about with our Eroy family. Like I said, it's a cow that does all things for us in terms of, I wish I had 3/4 of a barn full like maybe the Abigails with Steve. But it's been a bit of a blessing and a curse. We have a very limited workforce, and I love that the world has come to our door. And that's what registered Holsteins can do. Eroy has brought the world to Nova's door like nothing I have ever seen. However, we need almost a full-time person to take care of the people knocking on the door. And in no way am I complaining, but I never in a million years, at the beginning of this process, 5 years ago when this cow came into our barn, would have even begun to contemplate the commitment that it takes to create what these two guys, I think, have created for years. Deep cow families with people stopping by to see them and, popping in out of the blue. And for those of you that do that, I once again, I commend you to the nth degree, simply because it certainly takes you away from your day-to-day work. And but once again, it is a wonderful thing. One last thing I'll talk about, or two last comments, I guess. And something to think about for those of you that maybe aren't in the world of rural America anymore like we are. We're one of the fastest growing counties in Wisconsin, or at least we were before the housing crunch came upon us. But we're in an ag zone township, and I got on our town board 6 or 7 years ago to try to change that. Believe that or not, to allow us to maybe build some homes in our township. That wasn't well received. I wanted economics to drive the value of land and not necessarily just agriculture. So anyway, it stayed an ag zone township, but just 2 weeks ago, it was interesting for me that our general route is 4 miles, and our road was posted. And they said our equipment is getting too big. Even though we're in an ag zone township, we weren't going to be allowed to drive our roads. And I guess my thing there is, whether you're farming big, small, or otherwise, the need for planning and preparing and educating, we need to think quickly and calmly, but we need to be proactive. And it was kind of an interesting thing. We went out and tore this building down and then brought it back and rebuilt it. And so here it is. It's just, our cows eat out from the south side. For the most part, we don't have a lot of problem with cold and wind. But we've had cows hit 206 pounds a day in here, which is something that we never, ever got in our tie stall barn. There's our pre-fresh group and just a picture of the barn as it is. But this is the bottom line of what we do. My daughters are important, and we love having them around the farm. And I think they're both trying to take Sybil Fisher's job because I think they took a bunch of these pictures. But overall, I'll just buzz through these quickly. And this is our shop, part of our shop, and this is my dad here. Where we do work for about 20 local farms. One of our shears and our steel inventory, some of the things we've done for extra money in our little shavings truck. So, and this actually is a picture that my daughter took. So, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it.